Long before the Age of Fire, when the land was ruled by root and claw, there was Gorhald, the verdant tyrant, once the guardian spirit of the verdant expanse, a forest so ancient that even the gods feared to tread its heart. Born of twisted oak and beast's blood, Gorhald's form was shaped by the wrath of the wild, the horns of a stag that gored the first kings, the fur of a winter wolf that hunted in endless snow, and the eyes of a predator who has never known fear. Legends say that to slay Gorhald is to bring death to the forest itself. Deep within the infinite, black waters of the drowned meridian, lies Chalith, the abyssal moor, a guardian beast birthed from the trenches where no light dared sink. Legends say he was once a minor deity of harvest for the coastal tribes, revered for the bounty he brought from the deep. But when mankind's greed stripped the oceans bare, their offerings ceased, and Chalith was left to starve in the black silence. Over centuries, hunger twisted the god into a predator. His shell became a fortress of barnacled stone, his claws sharper than the reef, and his eyes adapted to pierce both light and shadow. Retreating into a labyrinthine coastal cave, he turned it into his hunting ground, dragging sailors, fishermen, and even ships themselves into the dark, to be cracked apart like shells. In the low, mist-choked fens beyond the hollow reaches, the villagers whisper of Elandra, a witch whose roots run deeper than the oldest willows. Once a healer of the marsh folk, she tended their sick and called forth gentle rains. But in the year of the blighted sky, the harvest failed, and the people, desperate and afraid, cast her into the mire for consorting with things beneath the water. The marsh took her, but it did not keep her. Now she walks the winding banks, her robes heavy with damp, her wide-brimmed hat dripping with rain that never falls elsewhere. Wherever she treads, the frogs fall silent, and the air smells of stagnant pools. Those who meet her gaze in the mist claim to see the reflection of their own drowning, moments before she pulls them beneath the still surface, to join her root-bound congregation. Among the scattered hamlets at the foothills of the Thrimfell Peaks, there is an old saying: when the shadow soars against the snow, the mountain takes its toll. It refers to the gerfalcons of Skymall, man-sized eagles with wingspans wider than the keep's broken gates, and eyes like molten gold. It is said their screams can bring avalanches, and their talons can tear through both armor and stone. They hunt in coordinated flights, striking caravans on the narrow ledges of the pass, and carrying victims screaming high into the mountains, into the ancient ruined fortress of Skymall Keep, where the eagles make their lair. Travelers who must cross the pass leave offerings of raw meat at stone shrines along the trail, hoping to sate the gerfalcon's hunger just long enough to pass unseen. Few who ignore this custom are ever seen again, save for a tattered scrap of cloth found snagged high among the fortress battlements. During the Great Tempest War, a magical storm conjured by enemy sorcerers threatened to drown Stormbreak Inlet and its people. Arik Thalrune, the Tide Knight, waded into the churning sea alone, wielding his swords, Seabreaker and Foamfang, and cut through the heart of the Tempest's conjurer. The tide fell, the storm died, and from that day forward, the ocean's voice seemed to answer his call. Word of his deeds spread swiftly. Raiders once bold enough to attack Stormbreak's coasts turned their prows elsewhere, speaking in hushed tones of the Tide Knight, whose swords flashed like lightning, and whose arrival was heralded by the roar of the waves. In time, even the most hardened corsairs came to believe the tales, that to challenge the Tide Knight was to invite the ocean itself to rise against you. For the novice adventurer, the wandering merchant Bramblefoot is perhaps the safest and surest source of magical items, charms, and potions. Bramblefoot greets all with courtesy, offering a morsel of bread or a steaming cup of tea before discussing trade. He has an uncanny memory for faces, often recalling details of an adventurer's last journey even years later. Little is known of Bramblefoot's past, save that his accent and mannerisms are unlike any particular kingdom's. What is certain is that Bramblefoot is protected by ancient, unseen magic. Blades that strike him dull at the edge. Arrows veer aside as though caught by an invisible current. He says little about his past or where he comes from, instead only smiling and offering tea. No one knows if Feyrath, herald of the miasma, was once man, spirit, or something far older. The oldest chronicles speak of him not as a knight of flesh, but as the first symptom. A towering figure walking out of the plague winds before the sickness began its work. Entire towns withered in his wake before ever seeing his blade. He is the sickness given shape, the harbinger of each new wave of pestilence. To strike him down would be to break the cycle, ending the plague forever. Yet in every age, the warriors who have challenged him have fallen, their names forgotten save for weathered inscriptions on their empty graves. The flame wraiths of Cindralith appear as tall, robed figures, wreathed in perpetual fire, their forms tattered and insubstantial, as if woven from living embers and drifting ash. Their faces are shrouded, though travelers claim to see the glint of molten eyes beneath the hood. The flames that trail from their robes burn without smoke, yet scorch the earth in their wake, leaving blackened furrows in the soil. The wraiths haunt the scorched wastes, a land where the ground is cracked and parched, and the air is heavy with the scent of burnt stone. Ancient records tell of a thriving kingdom once standing here, its spires glittering like jewels against the desert sky. Now only ruins remain, buried in dust and cinders, and it is in these silent streets and open plains that the wraiths drift endlessly.
Few beings are spoken of in hushed reverence by hunters, druids, and kings alike. Yet the soul wolves are counted among them. Said to be born from the breath of the first trees and the echoes of the world's oldest moonlight, these spectral canines roam the untouched heartlands of the forest. Their forms shimmer like mist in silver light, and their eyes glow with an inner flame that reflects the truth of the soul they behold. A soul wolf will never reveal itself by chance. They are drawn to mortals whose threads of fate shine brighter than others, those destined for acts of great magnitude. But destiny is no gentle thing. It is a force that can shape mountains or topple empires. To be chosen by their gaze is to stand at the crossroads of glory and ruin.
Where the blizzards howl eternal and the ice never thaws, the Skalmir tundra hides predators of legend, the chrome dragons. Their bodies, forged in the crucible of frost and storm, gleam like living glaciers, polished steel reflecting the endless snowfields. Born when the frozen winds fuse dragonfire with veins of quicksilver buried beneath the permafrost, these worms embody the cold cruelty of the north. The first recorded sighting spoke of a dragon that rose from beneath a frozen lake, its scales refracting moonlight like 1,000 shards of glass. The terrified clans took it as a punishment from the gods, a warning not to disturb the secrets of the tundra. Travelers bound for the slopes of Mount Vorin take notice. Magma slugs have been sighted crossing the ash plains and burrowing into the warm crevices along the southern trails. A local sorcerer of some repute, Master Helvran of the Obsidian Spire, has posted an open bounty for the heartstones of these beasts, crystalline cores found deep within their molten bodies, prized for their use in forging firebound charms and enduring wards against frost. Master Helvran offers 10 silver crowns per intact heartstone, with double payment for specimens still radiating heat. Beneath the bustling markets and lantern-lit avenues of Veithralis, in the dripping stone tunnels where runoff and refuse collect, lurk the slime drakes. These small, dragon-like creatures are coated in slick layers of corrosive ooze, giving them their name. Their wings are vestigial, their eyes wide and watchful, and their diet consists largely of rats, carrion, and, if rumors are to be believed, unwary trespassers. Slime drakes are rarely seen above ground, preferring the damp darkness of sewers, cisterns, and abandoned catacombs. While their bite is not fatal on its own, the ooze they excrete carries a caustic toxin that eats through both flesh and armor alike, leaving even seasoned adventurers scarred from an encounter. Strangely, the city guard of Veithralis has long turned a blind eye to their existence. Many speculate this is no accident. Thieves, smugglers, and assassins who vanish into the Undercity are often never seen again, with only bones and half-dissolved weapons left behind. To the guards, the slime drakes are a useful deterrent against the very criminal networks they cannot fully root out. It is said that the first slime drakes appeared after an alchemist's spill long ago. Waste from failed experiments and magical runoff mutating vermin into the scaled predators that haunt the tunnels today. Across the high chasms of the Velthar Gorge lies a rope and plank bridge that few dare to cross. Those who approach are halted by a towering figure, half bull, half man. This is Tharos, the guardian of the hanging bridge, tasked with deciding who may pass between the two realms divided by the abyss. Travelers are not asked for coin, nor challenged to battle. Instead, Tharos poses questions, probing matters of honor, compassion, loyalty, and justice. Each answer is weighed carefully, not by words alone, but by the truth within the soul of the speaker. His eyes, deep and burning like coals, are said to pierce all deceit. Those who falter or reveal corruption in their character are given no second chance. With a single sweep of his great spear, Tharos casts the unworthy into the endless mist below. It is said their cries echo through the gorge for days, a warning to others who would seek to cross without virtue. The Corvus assassins are unlike mercenaries or common blades for hire. Their craft is ritual as much as it is violence. Victims are often found drained of vitality, their blood used to inscribe runes of binding or silence upon walls and floors. Shadows themselves seem to answer the assassin's call, stretching unnaturally, smothering light, and swallowing sounds until their prey is left utterly isolated. They are said to move with raven-like grace, striking only once, but fatally. To witness one in motion is to see a silhouette detach from the dark, eyes glimmering with crimson light, before vanishing again into stillness. The Order does not take contracts lightly. Those marked by the Corvus rarely escape, and their deaths often carry a symbolic weight, a warning to kings, guildmasters, or rival sorcerers that no wall, guard, or prayer will save them. Some lords whisper that the assassins accept not coin, but favors and secrets, trading in debts that bind kingdoms as tightly as chains. Few names carry the same mixture of awe and dread as Selvara, the Moon Witch. Alongside her secretive coven, she walks the veil between light and shadow. Her sorceries bound to the celestial rhythm of the moon above. By waxing light, she draws power from silver luminescence, weaving spells of illusion, divination, and shadow binding. By waning dark, her power fades, slipping nearly to powerlessness. Upon the new moon, her coven transfigures themselves into owl shapes, eyes gleaming in silence, biding their time until lunar strength returns. Her followers, known as the Circle of Waning Light, share in her transformation and her curse. They are wanderers and watchers, drawn to lonely forests and forgotten ruins. performing rites in moonlit circles. To encounter them in human form is rare. To glimpse a circle of owls staring silently from the tree line is far more common.
If your travels take you deep into the unmarked reaches of the frontier, you may come upon a lake so clear and calm it feels as if the world itself holds its breath. Look to the far shore. If you see pale eyes watching, turn back the way you came. Do not drink, do not rest, and above all, do not meet their gaze. For such perfection may belong not to nature, but to the watchers of Blackmere Lake. They linger in the mist along the far shore, their pale eyes unblinking, their gaunt frames half hidden by the reeds. They will not stir while you drink or wash or let your guard down. Not at first. But those who linger past the first ripple upon the lake's surface will find the watchers drawing nearer, one step at a time, never breaking their silent gaze. They do not fight in the way of beasts or men. They follow. They follow through the underbrush, across streams, into valleys. They follow until you are too tired to run, until your mind frays from their unending presence. And when the moment comes that you no longer care to flee, you will not be seen again.
Dreadspire Castle rises from its seaside cliff, where the waves gnaw endlessly at its foundations. Yet the keep does not fall, it endures, held together not by mortar and stone, but by the will of the dragon that claims it. The dragon, known as Thorixis the Keeper, is said to have bound himself to the ruin after centuries of blood pacts and dark rites. Those who enter the keep find not only the dragon, but the Crimson Oath, a congregation of black-robed cultists who believe themselves stewards of his dominion. These zealots see the dragon not as beast, but as living god, and they enforce his will without hesitation. Travelers and adventurers are warned. Dreadspire is not merely a ruin to explore. It is a seat of living tyranny, where every cracked stone and shadowed hall is watched by dragon's eye or cultist's blade. Many who venture there never leave. If one must approach, heed this. To stand before Thorixis is to stand before judgment older than kingdoms. But the dragon does not kill indiscriminately. Those who are deemed unworthy are incinerated in flame or crushed beneath claw. But those whose wills are strong enough may be offered a choice. Swear the oath and serve, or defy and perish. The Zulthuron rainforest, a place of choking humidity and ceaseless growth, is home to countless hazards, but few inspire more dread among seasoned explorers than the dagger wasps. Their buzzing carries far through the jungle canopy, a low hum that sets even the bravest hunter on edge. These wasps are monstrous in size, their bodies as long as a man's forearm, with wings that beat like rattling shutters. They nest high in the ancient trees, their hives resembling twisted black spires dripping with resin and venom. Travelers often find false comfort in the knowledge that the venom of the dagger wasp is not lethal. Indeed, the toxin merely incapacitates, causing fever, swelling, and searing waves of pain that leave the victim delirious. The true peril lies in the stinger itself. Each is the size of a dagger, capable of punching through leather, mail, or even poorly forged plate. A single thrust tears deep, leaving wounds that bleed heavily and often prove fatal if untreated. Few survive encounters not because of poison, but because of blood loss and the brutal trauma of the sting. The folk of the coasts tell tales of the wave devils, an amphibious people who stalk the shoals and reefs, where sailors most often find themselves in peril. To the untrained eye, they appear as men twisted into the forms of sea serpents, scaled from crown to tail, with claws hardened like coral, and fins and crests that rise and fall with the tides. Though their appearances are varied, All wave devils share the same piercing eyes, luminous like drowned lanterns beneath the waves. It is said the wave devils were once mortal mariners who swore themselves to the Sea King of the Abyss in exchange for dominion over the waters. The bargain granted them strength, but at a cost. Their humanity washed away like sand beneath the tide. Others claim they are no mortals at all, but the spawn of ancient leviathans, born from the mingling of divine wrath and saltwater storms. If you wander the northern passes and glimpse a pale-cloaked woman striding alone, do not be fooled into thinking her an easy mark. The northern folk utter her name with equal parts reverence and dread. For while others may fear to ride alone upon dangerous roads, Selviane Frostbinder is never truly alone. She is regarded as perhaps the most gifted conjurer of the age. At a mere snap of her fingers, she may summon her bound companion, Irath, the Ice Sentinel. Towering at 10 feet in height, Irath is a hulking construct of jagged ice and ancient runes, its chest glowing faintly with the blue fire of its mistress's binding sigils. When stirred to wrath, the elemental crushes foes with fists like boulders and coats the ground in frost so thick that flesh freezes in moments. Bandits who once thought her an easy target litter the roadsides as broken, frozen husks, grim reminders that Selviane's vulnerable solitude is merely an illusion. Once a decorated champion in the court of vampire Lord Caldrian, Caelvor found himself caught in the coils of political intrigue. A rival faction, fearful of his influence and the loyalty he commanded among the lesser lords, wove a plot to depose him. Through whispers, they painted Caelvor as a conspirator against the throne. When the coup came, Lord Caldrian turned his wrath not upon the true schemers, but upon the knight he believed to be a traitor. Caelvor was dragged before the court in chains, his titles stripped. The lords cast him into exile, confident that isolation and starvation would end him. But exile was not the end. Alone in the high wilds, Caelvor's refined vampiric instincts warped under the constant gnawing hunger. His mind fractured, and his body followed, twisting into a monstrous flying beast. Now he hunts not as a knight, but as a feral shadow in the wilds who turns his insatiable hunger upon his prey. Prison wardens curse his name. Bards sing it in harrowing folk tales. To many, he is a ghost story, until the morning a cell door swings open, and a prisoner long thought doomed walks free. Varro, the Iron Phantom, is no common escapee. He is a professional, offering his peculiar services for a fee that would beggar lesser nobles. His craft is not only to free himself, but to liberate whomever a patron wishes freed. His method is simple and audacious. He has himself arrested and thrown into the very prison where the target languishes. From there, he weaves a plot of escape, ensuring that when he walks free, so too does his charge. Those who seek Varro's aid must pay dearly: coin, jewels, and treasure. Even then, he is choosy, refusing commissions that do not interest him. Criminals that have harmed women and children have no hope for his aid, whereas it is said he has a soft spot for the wrongly accused and those that rebel against tyrants.